Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday evening meeting of the Fairfield Golden Speakers Toastmasters Club. My name is Rick Starr. We meet every Tuesday evening. It's my pleasure to introduce our acting president, Jean Symington Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Sergeant at Arms. There's something about this side of the room. I'm trying to figure it out. Emery, did you say something that kind of, okay.
I'm pretty sure I brushed my teeth.
Yeah, okay. Anyone who wants to sit on this side, please feel free so we don't have the room tip. Welcome to Golden Speakers Toastmasters. We see some guests here.
Yeah.
And they are moving. Oh, we're just having. Okay, so good. Yeah, so now we'll get the other side rolling. Oh, that's funny. I understand, though. Friends want to move together and stay together. Nice to see you.
Same here.
So welcome to Golden Speakers. We meet every Tuesday night, 7:45 to 9:15 here in the Hy-Vee Club Room on West Burlington. We always like to encourage our viewers at home to come down and visit anytime. And of course, you can always do your grocery shopping afterwards. It's so handy. It's so convenient. Again, we do have some guests here. Let's go ahead and hear maybe a sentence as to your name and what brought you to Toastmasters. So.
Hi everyone. I'm Him Rajpodel. I'm from Nepal, and I'm a student at NUM. I have been to Toastmasters Club before in Malaysia. We were colleagues together, me and Ajay. I've been a member for like 6 months, and then it's good to be here. So, yeah.
Good. All right. All right. That's very good.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ajay, and I'm from Nepal too, and I have been to Toastmasters before in Malaysia as well. And I had a good experience with Toastmasters Club. It's where you can learn a lot of things and meet good people and visual communication. And I have been following this club since then. I wanted to be in the, when I moved out from Malaysia, I was working there, and then I came to Fairfield to study a master's degree in computer science in MEM. And then I just wanted to know where's the nearest Toastmasters Club nearby, and I found Golden Toastmasters Club.
Yeah.
I had been last week here, so it's good. And
you were lost, and now you are found. Yay! Yes. Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Good. Amor?
Yeah, I had nothing to do this afternoon. So these guys are coming to the club, so I was thinking like if I could learn something new. So I was giving it a try.
Good. All right. Well, thank you. Welcome. And that's what a lot of times it's how it starts. Is you just want to check it out, and you got a friend who says, "Come on, come on, come on, let's go." All right. Well, very good. Nice to have you here. Anil. Anil. Want to tell us again?
Hello everyone, my name is Anil Maheshwari. I'm a faculty at NUM. I did the CTM and Toastmasters in the mid-90s in New York City. And my wife is speaking, giving her icebreaker speech, so I thought I'll come and listen in. And she said, give me some constructive feedback. I'll try to do that.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
So, all right, do we have any other guests? Okay, great. All right. Well, without further ado, I think we're going to go ahead and get the meeting started, and we'll hand off to our Toastmaster for the evening, Mr. Dan Craig.
Well, Toastmasters, our guests, viewers at home, welcome to another Tuesday night meeting of Golden Speakers. My job as Toastmaster is to keep the meeting moving along. The first thing I'm going to do is mention that the theme of the meeting is mothers. We're still in the afterglow of Mother's Day, still trimming along. The quote we've got on the matrix is, "Mother's love is peace. It need not be acquired, it need not be deserved." That's a quote from Eric Fromm. The first order of business for us tonight is to introduce our role players. And our first role player who will explain his meeting role is Will Burns.
Thank you, Dan. My role is to keep the time of this meeting by using this handy stopwatch and this lighting system right here. Red light, green light, and amber light. Now, for table topics towards the end, we will have green light showing at 1 minute, the amber light at 1:30, and the red at 2 minutes. For the evaluations, green at 2, amber at 2:30, and red at 3. Finally, for our speeches, we have 3 different sets. We have a speech that's 5 minutes, 5, 6, 7. We have a speech that is 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and 6 minutes. The lights there. And finally, we have a speech that is 8, 9,
There's a correction on that.
10,
That speech is going to be 10 to 12.
10, 11, and 12. Finally, I will give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Now let's hear from John Miller, who is our grammarian.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm the grammarian this evening, and I selected a word of the day. The word that came to my mind was flummoxed. I'm a bit flummoxed about what it means, but I think it means confused, or you could say befuddled, I guess. Hopefully that's what it means. I don't have a dictionary here. I'm kind of a fill-in for someone else. So we are all a bit flummoxed, I'm sure, from having to choose a word like that. Good luck on using that in your talks. I'm going to be looking for especially poetic or tasteful words and expressions, and if there are any glitches, grammatical glitches, whatever, I will point those out too. That's about it.
And now we're going to hear from our R counter, Emery Styron.
Good evening, Toastmasters. Yes, you know, I'm the awe counter. This is my first time in this role, and I'm really excited. I'll be taking note of the uhs, ahs, ums, likes, you knows, so's, but, ands, tongue clicks, pauses, and false starts. And I'll report back to you at the end of the meeting. Did I have a room there?
I don't know, I'm too flummoxed to Tonight, our general evaluator is going to be Jyoti Raj Adhikari. We'll hear from him later. Our greeter and joke master tonight is Wahid Amin. He'll tell us a joke later in the meeting. And we're ready to go. The first section of our meeting is going to be our prepared speeches. Our first talk will be by DJ Tio. There he is. He's going to be evaluated by Lewis Dembaum. Please welcome Diane.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, guests, viewers at home, and fellow Toastmasters. Tonight, DJ is working out of the Confident Communicator Manual on Project 4, How to Say It. DJ Teo, yes, say that right? I have to call you on that, is a senior international student at MUM. He graduates in 2 weeks. Yay! With a major in media and communication with a specialty in film. The title of his speech tonight is My Spiritual Journey. The objectives of his speech from the manual are: select the right words and sentence structure to communicate your ideas clearly, accurately, and vividly. Number 2, use rhetorical devices to enhance and emphasize ideas. Number 3, eliminate jargon and unnecessary words. Use correct grammar. So I'll be reporting as the evaluator later in the meeting, and I'd like to now welcome DJ.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. Today, my primary objective is to share with you my spiritual journey here in Fairfield. The first out-of-this-world experience happened 3 years ago. I was invited by a friend to go to a campfire. It was in the woods. It was dark. It was this very sacred and mystical place to me. I've never been there, and the surrounding area was covered by a canopy of beautiful trees and leaves, which hid the sky and stars from us. We sat down next to a bunch of young adults who paid us no attention, and I decided to look into the fire and think to myself. The most mysterious thing happened as I looked into the fire, and when thoughts and emotions came into me, the people around me started to respond to my thoughts and emotions, mimicking what I was saying and also mimicking my emotions. I was baffled and startled, of course, and I tried to listen, and whenever that happened, they just stopped talking altogether. When I started to think to myself and became in a panic, they started to talk and mimic my emotions and words again. This happened a few times until the person next to me started to talk to me and greeted me and said hi. I didn't know how to react. And out of fear and out of my uneasiness, I decided to talk to him like a normal person, like he was a human. But I didn't stay there for much longer. And from that day on, I consciously and unconsciously looked for these mind readers that lurk among us. I always thought to myself, who could those people be? Are they aliens? Higher beings? Angels? Demons? Or is my reality just a dream world connected to my mind? I looked for answers, but none came my way. I only became more fearful as time passed. And then, out of this world, level 2 happened. Bliss, happiness, love, and attraction to people I never met in my life before. It was spectacular. Like, just amazing feeling that I have for people who I might be connected in another lifetime. Because when I look at that person, that feelings become so intense that I cannot help but burst out laughing. My bodily senses became more pleasurable and sensitive. Food started to taste better. My world started to look more vivid and more colorful and more beautiful. Everything was just working out so well. They might be soulmates or benevolent beings, so I thought. And I also observed that we might share emotions. Another thing that caught my attention was they were trying to suppress some of the joy and happiness whenever it became too overwhelming. And I decided to do the same because I thought it was about maintaining balance and order in this human realm. It would be so nice if things would remain like that. But unfortunately, out of this world, level 3 happened. The bliss, the happiness disappeared. I felt funnily sensations in my genitals and a pop in my chest, and energy started to flow down and get to the back, towards the back of my head. Crazy amount of pain was felt at the back, and I felt repulsiveness towards those people whom I used to feel love and bliss for. It was the most devastating thing, as bad and chaotic thoughts also flooded my mind at that time. It was a stressful and trying time, as many of these people whom I used to feel blissful for, even family members, and many people of the opposite sex who I felt attracted to, all fell into the category of people that I was repelled from emotionally. Food started to taste bland. I couldn't pay attention to the world. It just hurt. Shit started to smell good. Everything was just going chaotic in my head, and I didn't know what was going on. Things spiraled for the worse as I became more paranoid of my bodily sensations. I started to wonder, what is the higher meaning of this? I looked out for signs. I tried to look for those mind readers and lurkers again, but I couldn't find anybody. As I looked within myself more and more, these sensations became stronger, and they overtook me as they become a part of me that I am often distracted to, as these sensations really took over my mind and attention throughout most of the day. Why does this happen to me? I do not understand, but all I know is there are things that can be learned from such chaotic times on my journey. I've learned to be more accepting to stressful situations, and I've learned to be able to just pay attention to the present moment and focus on my actions that leads towards my goals and desires. I've learned to have faith in the benevolent higher powers as I have prayed and I have been emotionally comforted spontaneously numerous times. My friends, there is much more to life than meets the eye, and I will journey on with openness and with courage so that my soul can evolve to become a greater me. Thank you.
Let's take 2 minutes to evaluate the speaker. Guests, I think you have forms also. You're welcome to write out an evaluation. We're back, ready for our next talk. Our evaluator for NIRJA is going to be Annalisa Fredericks.
Hello, everyone. It's my great pleasure to be introducing NIRJA to her first speech here, her icebreaker. And the point of this speech is just to introduce herself to all of us Toastmasters and guests. She's going to be giving some information about her background, interests, and ambitions, or we will see if she will. And her objectives are to begin speaking before an audience and to discover speaking skills that she already might have and skills that might need some attention. The time is 4 to 6 minutes, and a little introduction about NIRJA. She is married with 2 children and has an MBA from MUM. She joined Toastmasters to get rid of her fear of public speaking, and she feels that Toastmasters is a great platform for that, and it has a great supportive environment. So please, everyone, give her a big round of applause.
Life can change in a moment. Hello, Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and viewers at home. I'm Neerja Maheshwari, and I have 2 daughters and a husband, and I'm originally from North India. I came to US like 25 years ago, and was busy taking care of kids and dealing all these household things. And my kids are out from home now, and my older one lives in Cincinnati and younger one lives in, she is doing undergrad in MUM. I have so many fond memories from my childhood and adulthood. My parents were wealthy, fairly wealthy and loving. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and I love to share with you a couple of stories because time does not permit me to share a lot of them. But it was summertime. My cousins were visiting at my parents' home for summer vacation. It's kind of ritual. It used to be a ritual in India, like in summer vacation, you go to your grandparents' house for a month or 1.5 months. So they were visiting with my aunt, and we used to play whole day until late night because no schools. We used to play board games outside. There was no TV at that time. So lots of outdoor games and indoor games like board games and carom and card games. One night, it was very hot night, and we were playing hide and seek. We had a grouping system. My girls one group, boys one group, and we were playing hide and seek. My cousin sister and her brother started fighting about petty money, and my cousin sister gave that money and she said, "Run away from here, he will take it." It's because I was in her group. So I took that money, climbed on the dining table and fell down. I broke my leg. I started screaming loudly, and because I had excruciating pain in my leg, my cousins got scared and they ran away outside of the house. My parents, my aunt came to see what happened, why I'm screaming so loudly. I'm crying actually. So as soon as he came in and he said, "Can you get up?" I said, "No." He picked me up and went to hospital. After x-ray was done, doctor put cast on my leg. Pain vanished like magic. We came home. I didn't tell anything what happened in reality to my parents because I didn't want my cousins to get in trouble. After summer vacation was over, my cousins left and I was at home. Staying home for 4 months, I didn't have to go to school because I had full leg cast. So I was staying home for 4 months. Time passed. I grew in adulthood, went to college. College was fun, of course. I had 4 or 5 friends group. We used to go bunk college and go for movies and go for dinner or for lunch and all. So it was good life and everything was great. Got married after once I finished my college and lived in India for 4 or 5 years. Got my first daughter, got busy with her, and then my husband wanted to do PhD and his desire was to finish his PhD in US, so he applied to many universities and he got admission in Cleveland, Ohio, Case Western Reserve University. So we moved here. It was great. I enjoyed America so much freedom, big cars, roads, driving. We love traveling, so we did a lot of traveling in US. And after enjoying 3 years, I got my second daughter. I got busy with them. He was busy with setting up his own, finishing his PhD, and time flew. Somehow time flew. 22 years passed. My daughters went to college. They were out from home. So I decided to pursue my MBA. We moved accidentally to Fairfield. Finished my MBA and now I'm here. I love this place. So I feel, friends, life can change in a moment. I didn't know I will marry such a wonderful husband I love immensely and move to Fairfield, such a beautiful place. So things can change in a moment. Everybody plan their life according to their understanding, but Divine has his own role in it. He has a plan for us and we should respect that and go from there. Thank you.
Now, Let's again take 2 minutes to evaluate Nirja's speech. We're back, and now for the final speech of the evening. The evaluator for Jean is going to be Rick Starr.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. It's my pleasure to introduce Jean Simonton Craig. Jean's been a Toastmaster since 2006. She served in a variety of officer roles within the club and has also been an Area 92 governor. Jean is a member and serves as a club liaison at the Consciousness Communicators Toastmasters Club at the Iowa State Penitentiary. Jean has mentored the local Cambridge Tech Masters Club, for which we're very grateful, and has conducted 2 youth leadership programs. Jean's married to fellow Toastmaster Dan Craig and enjoys the camaraderie and opportunity to serve that come with Toastmaster membership. Jean has a personal goal to complete her Distinguished Toastmaster Award, which is the highest educational award in Toastmasters, by June 30th. Tonight, Jean is doing Project 5 from the Entertaining Speaker Award. This project is from the Entertaining Speaker Manual. This project is the after-dinner speaking. After-dinner talks are challenging. The audience has just dined, and they're becoming drowsy. Your talk should be light, lively, positive, and entertaining. Personalize the talk by referring to earlier events or people on the program and building on them. Use humor and drama. The objectives for Jean's speech are to prepare an entertaining after-dinner talk on a specific theme, deliver the talk using the skills developed in the preceding projects. The title of Jean's speech is Ties That Bind. It's 10 to 12 minutes. And Jean has asked us to assume the role of a community organization that has come together for its annual dinner and celebration. And Jean has been brought in to be the after-dinner speaker. Please help me warmly welcome Jean Simonton Craig.
Here with you tonight at your annual dinner, coming together again to celebrate, reinforces for me the significance of time-honored traditions and rituals in our society. However, I didn't feel that way in my early years. Life was for breaking boundaries and for going where no man or woman had gone before. In fact, getting off that plane from my debutante experience that 1971 fall weekend in Baltimore, I was a rebellious 18-year-old Duke freshman, women's liberation oriented, and very anti-tradition. Honored guests, viewers at home, I was a resistant debutante who had an epiphany that weekend about tradition and the role that it can play in gracefully bringing people together. Here's the story. The Simonton family was a prominent family in Baltimore. My grandmother, we called her Gagi, wanted me as the eldest granddaughter to come out in Baltimore. No, I'm not gay. Coming out or having a debut means that a young lady is a debutante and is being introduced to high society or upper class society during a season of parties that culminates in a grandiose members-only ball. In Baltimore, this ball is called the Bachelor's Cotillion. It was started in 1812 and was one of the 4 major debutante balls in the country, along with New York, Philadelphia, and Charleston. Well-known author and social historian Lucy Cavalier wrote in 1960, and I quote,
To millions of Americans, the debut stands as the ultimate in social recognition. Today, presentation at one of the major debutante balls has come to be the criterion by which a girl becomes known as a member of society. And this acceptance carries over to her family as well. I had agreed to participate to please my grandmother, but I was having serious doubts now. My hippie friends at Duke could not believe what I was doing, and I was pinching myself as well. What were the big contrasts? Well, imagine me, long brown hair, parted in the middle, covering my face a little bit, gold wire rim glasses, no makeup, hair under my arms, yes, and on my legs, and a ragged pair of jeans that I wore for all occasions. In Baltimore at the big event, my poor grandmother and I had to negotiate some details. I reluctantly agreed to attend the required hair appointment where I was going to be curled and baked under a dryer and teased out, but I settled on a style that allowed me to have some of my hair hanging down. I would shave under my arms to accommodate the sleeveless gown, but I would not have to shave my legs. No one was going to see them anyway. I also agreed not to wear my wire rim glasses, not a debutante style plus, and planned to just coast through the evening in a hazy blur, which was just fine with me. I was starting to feel surreal because here I was, the cocky, trying to be radical Duke student, feeling suddenly set down in a quaint antebellum era from a bygone time. After the rather objectionable, on principle hair appointment, I was delivered to my Aunt Gracie's, which was going to be my receiving area. Gifts and flowers from people I'd never met were arriving constantly. My Aunt Gracie's table was covered with a delirious assortment of bouquets sent to me as the debutante. Anyone who knows me, Dan knows, I love flowers. On a separate couch, there was a mountain of gifts piling up. Sterling silver picture frames and monogram silver luggage tags, pearl necklace. These are authentic from that weekend. Long gloves, albums, and other debutante appropriate gifts that had my eyes rolling internally as I opened each one. Oh, another picture frame. However, I was starting to melt, starting to feel that something special was going on here. All of these moving people and parts, and I was the center of attention. Evening arrived. I was dressed in a full-length, flowing, billowing gown, white with a beaded bodice and long white gloves. My hair was gracefully up, but also gracefully down in a ponytail, partly ponytail, pearl necklace, white satin pumps, no leg hair showing, and Goggi's luxurious mink stole. We got in the limousine and headed out to the Green Spring Valley Country Club, a venerable Baltimore society establishment where there was a 50-course filet mignon dinner in my honor. The men, looking very handsome, were dressed in tuxedos, and the women mingled with colorful evening gowns. Now, of course, I understood that this was really paying respects to my grandmother, but it was still a heady experience to be toasted and extolled by everyone. Next, we got in the limousine and headed off to the ball where the cotillion was going to be taking place. Now is where I really lost my resistance and started to go with the flow. It helped that the champagne was flowing as well. You remember all those flowers that I talked to you about? The cotillion dance floor was about 12 feet below where the box seats were, where the special guests were going to sit. And the walls were covered with this kind of like rabbit fencing through which dozens and dozens and dozens of bouquets from all the debutantes were placed. it was like being wrapped in flowers. This towering flower experience with every flower imaginable. It was spectacularly beautiful and intoxicatingly fragrant. Gagi had selected 5 high society older males to be my chief partners. Their job was to go out onto the dance floor and bring over other society members for introductions and to dance a few steps with me. These were established men, not boys my own age. After all, I was being introduced to society, not there to have fun with my immature peers. My partners also, their job was to rotate the bouquets so that every several steps I was getting another bouquet so that the bouquet givers who were spread out all around this whole big, huge place could see me dancing with their bouquet and feel appreciated. It was quite a production. Now remember where I'm coming from and where I'm finding myself in. There came a moment where everyone got off the dance floor except for the white-gowned Debs short for debutante, and one partner for each. This was the special debutante promenade, a pattern formation where all of the white-gowned Debs lined up and behind each other and followed a basic pattern around the dance floor. At this point, I found out that Gagi had arranged for my partner to be none other than the president of the cotillion, which meant that we were going to be first in the line and setting the lead for everybody else. In addition to not knowing what to do, you will remember that I am not visually perfect at this point. Precision was not going to be my strong suit. So I gulped, but I got it together. I got some hasty instructions, and I went out to do my best. Champagne fortified. The swaying promenade that with the elegantly white-gowned young ladies and the black attired partners really created the regal high point for the evening, which had been done for years and years, for decades and decades. It must have been really stunning to watch from the box seats. I was too busy trying to figure out where I was going and not derailing the procession and leading it the wrong way. It was all a hazy blur. I was having a good time, and I prevailed. And Gagi beamed with just happiness and pride. She was really, really pleased with her granddaughter. Okay, next day, Sunday, was a dressy brunch with more well-wishers, reviewing and just enjoying the accomplishments of the night before and just thinking about how great it had all been. At this point, I was completely seduced to the beauty of this particular tradition and was behaving in a gracious, appreciative manner. Gone was that gnarly, sarcastic girl who had gotten off of the plane 2 days earlier with a bulging attitude chip on her shoulder. I had experienced a sense of inhabiting something larger, something that where tradition was connecting the generations and creating a platform that integrated over time. Well, even though when I got back to Duke, I had a gigantic list of thank you notes to write, which I was not excited about in the least, I was able to report to my bewildered friends that I actually had a good time and was glad I participated. I enjoyed a congenial glow as I headed off to my Monday morning class, back in my dilapidated familiar jeans, hair hanging down, peering out through my wire-rimmed glasses, smoking a cigarette, being cool, and comfortably barefoot. As you sit here tonight, enjoying the fellowship and celebrating the accomplishments of the year, relish Relish the traditions that tie you together and bind you to bigger realities. Nourish and uphold those traditions and those rituals because they will do the same for you.
Now let's take 2 minutes and evaluate Jean's speech. We're back. Now we're going to vote for the best speaker. Mr. Timer, did all the speakers qualify?
Yes, all 3 speakers qualify. So please vote for DJ, Nirja, or Jean, Simonton, Craig.
Now for the evaluation portion of our meeting, I'm going to invite Jyoti Rajadakari up as the general evaluator.
Thank you.
Fellow Toastmasters guests and viewers at home. I'm your general evaluator tonight. My role is to introduce the evaluators, the speech evaluators, and next role is, the other role is to evaluate the meeting and the evaluator itself. So first of all, I'd like to call Lewis Dembaum to evaluate our first speaker, DJ.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening again, Toastmasters guests and viewers at home, and DJ. I'd like to start out, DJ and I met as we were coming here. He was walking and I gave him a ride. And I said, is there anything special beyond what's in the manual that you're looking for? And he said, oh, wow, thank you for asking that. And what he said was, I'd like to know, as we all do in Toastmasters, really, how am I landing on the audience? You know, do I look confident? You know, what's my impact? Now, this was about how to say it. So DJ had 3 speeches before, his icebreaker, organizing a speech, and then getting to the point. Well, based on that, I think that by my occasionally turning to the audience, you all seemed pretty interested in what DJ had to say. You're not just reading, you looking at him. At least you didn't look away, you did not fall asleep. The audience did not fall asleep. Parts of the speech might have flummoxed them. What's that word? I can't even say it. Anyway, I tried. So DJ, his speech, yes, I think you did have an impact, but here's where I'm going to give you a tip right from the start. To make sure your audience is with you, you've got a topic like my spiritual journey. So it asks here, was the speech topic appropriate for this assignment? And I thought to myself, yes, because spiritual journey can mean a lot, anything to people. Everyone's on a spiritual journey, whether they're here in Fairfield, wherever they are, whatever church, synagogue, temple, whatever they're doing. So I want to make sure I stated the point myself, but to guide us in the beginning, you were very clear. It asked, was he organized? And yes. I'm going to tell you, he said, I'm going to tell you tonight about my spiritual journey. I would say to bring us along, and if you're like me, it hasn't been easy at times. Because then you're like, okay, no, we're not going to stay up here. So I wanted to get you with that throughout. Just, you're on a spiritual journey, it's not going to be easy. Or at times it wasn't easy, so that you bring us in, because we're all have been on a spiritual journey, or are on one. Now, to get to the point about using the words, did you use simple, short words? I heard a ton of them. Fires, canopies, dark woods. You showed us flow up the back. You talked about depression, these descriptions of food, tasting good and not tasting good. I'm not sure how well the HIT word goes in Toastmasters, but whatever. I just have to make that point. Did you use words that had more than one meaning? No. Were they short, simple, and understandable? I think here's another tip. I think DJ should slow down. Just slow it down a little bit. And maybe there was a lot in your speech. Perhaps there could be some trimming here and there. I didn't hear rhetorical devices, jargon. You did talk about these levels, and I'm not sure what they meant, so you might want to describe, especially a spiritual journey. There could be words, so help us out there, because I'm not sure what your spiritual journey calls it, but here's what a level means to me. Because remember, lots of differences in most of here and in the groups you're going to speak to. I love the topic. I love that you shared what you learned from your lessons. Who hasn't asked, why is it happening to me? Why is this happening? I mean, it's so profound, and I would use that through your speech. I'm gonna ask this question throughout my speech. Why is this happening to me? Well, you're probably like me. Why is that happening? Thank you. We can talk more.
Our next evaluator is Annalisa Fredrickson. She is evaluating Nirja Maheshwari for her icebreaker speech.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home, let's give Nirja a big round of applause for her icebreaker. So I'm going to go through the points in the evaluation. What strong points does the speaker already have? And I would say you have a ton. You're definitely a natural speaker. She had really good eye contact. I thought she was looking around the room. You have a great smile. I noticed she's very natural. You're laughing, smiling up here. I can't even do that half the time. You're very relaxed. You're comfortable. You were kind of in front of the podium. Yeah, I would say you were in front of the podium. So you weren't hiding behind the podium. She had a nice pause, was not rushed, and just didn't look nervous at all. So I thought, excellent starting point for your speech. Very good. How well did we get to know the speaker? I thought really well. We learned from childhood all the way to how you end up in Fairfield. And we learned, I enjoyed the story in the middle about growing up and just, a little more detail, and then you went on to just your life and how you ended up here. Did the speech reflect adequate preparation? Yes, definitely, no notes, and you seemed like you had definitely prepared and practiced. You knew what you were saying. Did the speaker talk clearly and audibly? Yes. Really easy to understand. You have great volume, really nice speed, pauses, as I said, and I was in the back and I understood everything, so it was really good. Did you have a definite opening, body, and conclusion? Yes, once again. I am sorry I forgot to say your title, but you just jumped in there and said the title of your speech, and then you told us what you were going to say. You're going to tell stories about your life. And then at the end, you ended with the title again and had an inspiring little conclusion. So you had no notes. What could you have done differently to improve the speech? As I said, you're definitely natural. Just continue doing speeches, practicing more. The one thing I would say, I just did what I said not to do, but think about where you're standing, and you were kind of standing around here. So try to come over here and talk to this side and focus more where your body is while you're speaking. And so to conclude, really fun hearing about your life. It's really inspiring. You're a natural speaker, and we're excited. I'm excited to hear more about your life and hear more speeches. So thank you.
Our third evaluator is Rick Starr. He is evaluating Gene, Simon, and Craig.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home, especially Gene Symington Craig. I've been in this club for about 2 years, and I've heard Gene give many speeches, and I think we all recognize that Gene is an outstanding speaker. Gene, I think you're at your best when you tell stories. You're a wonderful storyteller, especially when you tell stories of your own life and your own experience. I think tonight's speech was an example of that. I thought it was an outstanding speech, and I'll get into why I think it was. I'm going to go through the points in the book here. What indicated to you that the audience was entertained? The audience was paying rapt attention. Nobody was fidgeting. You could hear a pin drop during the story. How effectively did the speaker capture the audience's attention and hold it? Very effectively. Right from the beginning, you started out with a high-energy, dynamic introduction. You had vivid descriptions and imagery of both the physical environment and your emotions. And as always, you have a wonderfully natural vocal variety, dramatic vocal variety, and gestures. And you used all of those very effectively. What was the theme of the talk, and how easy was it for you to follow? To me, the theme of the talk was a younger person appreciating traditions. Every generation feels that we have invented life, and we have very little use for what came before us. And it was clear that Jean described this. She was a hippie. She knew everything, all this other stuff. Who needs it? And in the space of one evening, you came to appreciate the value of traditions. You came to appreciate your family. And what you started out doing grudgingly, you realized what you had done for your family and your grandmother. So in my opinion, that was the theme of the talk. How effectively did the speaker deliver jokes, stories, or anecdotes? Very effectively. The speech was chock full of them, from the history of the debutante ball to the description of your hippie appearance. I'm not sure we needed to know which parts of your body you shaved and which you didn't, but you threw that in there. And then later on, your description of your appreciation of the magic of the event. Overall impression of the speaker's approach. So entertaining, very good speech. I enjoyed it so much. The only suggestion I would have, and I think I've mentioned this in some of your other speeches, you fill your speeches chock full of information. And I'd like to see you cut back a little bit so you could have some more pauses. I know you get caught up almost in the excitement of your own talk, but I feel your speeches, because your speeches were full of so many wonderful moments, and you could have taken a few seconds just to let the audience savor that. So again, cut it by 15.7% and have time for pauses. Thank you.
It's a time for table topic. I would like to call our table topic master, Will Burns.
Thank you, Jochi. This is the part of the meeting where we have the hors d'oeuvres. It's an easy chance for our guests and our members and those of us that just want to get up here and speak to do so, off the cuff. I have picked a series of questions here. I will ask you to pick a number between 1 and 5, and then you will have 30 seconds to stand here, to ponder your answer, and begin. And you will speak for between 1 and 2 minutes on this topic, with a 30-second grace period at the end. So now we're clear. The theme in general is mothers. I'll just tell you that, and then I will now ask for volunteers. Do I have a volunteer from the audience? Perfect. Sir, come on up.
My name is Anil.
Anil? Please pick a number between 1 and 5.
3.
3. More people being born means more children and parents, more workers, schools are full, and so on. In some circles, however, there are concerns about rising population, global hunger, and environmental impact. What is your opinion on the world population situation?
Fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home, delighted to be here. The topic is generally about mothers, and you took it about children and population. First of all, It was Mother's Day just a couple of days ago, so congratulations to all mothers. Let's say that Happy Mother's Day. All the women at home, first of all. I also wanted to just do a shout out to some of my friends who actually, 3 of my good friends lost their mothers just Wednesday of all of last week, just a couple of days before their mothers, you know, sort of, they would have wished Mother's Day. So I just wrote to them yesterday, and just this morning actually, that how tragic it is, and goes to the theme of what DJ was saying, that life can change in a moment, right? Just a few days before you lose your mother. So it's very tragic. To your top question about population, now that question is very pertinent coming from India, where the population is huge, so I picked the right number. Number 3, there was always this idea that population is a burden. Human beings have mouths to be fed. I saw a BBC series in which these kind of countries were called HRRCs, human resource-rich countries, basically saying resource-poor countries, when the real resources were considered to be physical stuff. But see how India has turned things around. All our people have become IT specialists. India is the back office to the whole world, right? And now some people from Nepal, other countries around have become that. So it's just a matter of how you use human resource. There is no bigger resource than human resource. And with human ingenuity, you can tackle the issue of hunger or food requirements and clothing, etc., water. So I think all these problems can be tackled when there's human ingenuity. So the idea is to train the human beings and not treat them like just mouths to be fed, like any other kind of living being. So I'm very optimistic. I used to be a little depressed, but having seen in my own lifetime the transformation of India from an HRRC becoming a positive term, I think it's a good thing. So there's nothing to worry.
Sure. Appreciate, because they may not be here tomorrow. That will be a very tough act to follow. We here Toastmasters like to challenge ourselves. Who wants to take on that challenge? Probably not 3, 5. This is a quote. But kids don't stay with you if you do it right. It's the one job where the better you are, the more surely you won't be needed in the long run. That was a quote by Barbara Kingsolver. I can read it again if you like, or if you're ready to just want to get your impression on that quote. Not a problem. But kids don't stay with you if you do it right. It's the one job, being a mother, where the better you are, the more surely you won't be needed in the long run. And you can take 30 seconds.
Well, Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. We all knows, like, we love our mothers. Mothers is the one who take care of us, and she is the one who, no matter whatever the situations is there, she is always with us, and we can really be assured that mother is going to take care of us in any aspect of situations that we encounter. And actually, I forgot the quote, but I want to recall it. Like, whatever moment like you have, whether like it's, you are doing very, the child is very innocent, and child doesn't know like it's right or wrong, but he feels about the love. So mother who can, like, there's a connection between the child and the mother, and even without any words, they can be attracted to us, their feelings. So that's it. Thank you.
We have time for one more. Here at Toastmasters, we give the opportunity to speak, but that door is closing quickly. Waheed, come on up. Pick a number between 1 and 4.
1 and 4.
Not 4. This is my other quote of the list. In a child's eyes, a mother is a goddess. She can be glorious or terrible, benevolent or filled with wrath, but she commands love either way. I'm convinced this is the greatest power in the universe. Do you want me to read it again, or are you ready to go?
Yeah, you can read it.
In a child's eyes, a mother is a goddess. She can be glorious or terrible, benevolent or filled with wrath, but she commands love either way. I'm convinced this is the greatest power in the universe.
Yes. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home. First of all, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers who have gone through a lot to bring us to the day we are, to who we are, and they made us whatever we are. So, we have a saying in Persian which says that the heaven is under the mother's foot, because it just represents the mother's value and the mother's level in anyone's life. So, with while we are growing at free, we have a responsibility towards that. The same is with the mothers. This is a responsibility for a mother, and it is a beautiful duty for a mother that they take the responsibility in order to bring up their child. But now there are two ways of bringing up a child. In everyone, the first is that you could give enough love to your child, and you could give enough of the things that they need in order to bring them up in the way that in the future they would be independent. It means that in the first days or first years or first few months of their life is the days that a mother with their love could build their personality and could build them, and that would make them in future independent. In the other way, if the mothers are a little bit maybe careless, which they are not, but okay, it's life. So the way the child might get the personality might be a little bit of short maybe, and that might bring up a child which would face difficulty while they are growing up or maybe in future, and those difficulties might range a lot in their personality, in their confidence, and anything else. Thank you so much.
Now it's my pleasure to call up our table topics evaluator. But first, we will vote for best table topics. Mr. Assistant Timer, did all of our speakers qualify? Table topics.
All of our speakers qualified. Please correct me if I don't say your name properly. Anil, Ajish, and Wahid. All qualified.
Please vote. And we're back. Again, it's my pleasure to call up our table topics evaluator, Mr. Ron Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Worrell. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home. I am the table topics evaluator, and I will be discussing the 3 table topics speeches tonight. I thought they were all really excellent in their own way, And start off, we'll go with Anil. We talked about population growth. That was the question you had to address. I thought you were very calm, addressed the topic with a personal story about Mother's Day, and made it kind of just address the audience. And I felt kind of a connection about, rather than going into something about world hunger and we need to send food to India and China and all this stuff. I thought it was good just to get into the personal story first. And again, this has been a highlight. Everyone likes to stand here tonight. Everyone has been here without moving around the stage very much, and I noticed that you did as well. So that would be one thing I'd recommend. Just move around more, and then just use the space up here. And you also mentioned technology being a solution for the food problem, and so you kind of went into the scientific aspects of that. So I think that was impressive, and yeah, that's my suggestion for you. And Hijesh, okay, your topic was based. It was called, I forget the title of it. Something about will we need. What happens if you are raised by your mother and then she raises you so well that you don't need her anymore? You described the your style was, I'd say, kind of calm and good use of vocabulary, and you said you described a need that is demonstrated. Okay, described about like a relationship between a mother and a son or daughter or whatever. And then I would maybe suggest more vocal variety. So be loud at times and demonstrate that strength, and yes. And then also you segued, so that was good, impressive. Just you segued into your own speech. Wahid, commands love, quote. You had to start with a quote. Remember, you are. And there you are. And I would suggest more pauses, and in your speech, just use more pauses so that the audience can, so that you can, stay on track. And you also kind of went into some scientific data as well. Not data, but scientific just things about mothers and the relationship between mothers and sons. So yeah, very good. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, Josie.
So now did we vote for evaluator? No. Now we'll vote for evaluator, best evaluator.
Did all qualify?
They all qualify?
Just a note, you may, they did not all qualify.
Okay.
You may vote for Brana, Annalisa, or Rick.
Brana, Annalisa, and Rick. Stop.
Somebody went over. Let's see. Evaluator. Who else is the evaluator?
Welcome back. Now it's time for report. First, we'll hear from our timer, Wilbur. Will, can you tell what you saw and what you report?
Yes, I can. So, for table topics, Neil spoke for 2:18. Najesh spoke for 1:22. Wahid spoke for 2:14. For our speeches, DJ spoke for 6 minutes and 4 seconds. Nirja spoke for 6 minutes and 5 seconds. And Gene Simonton Craig spoke for 12 minutes and 7 seconds. For our speech evaluators, Rick Starr spoke for 2 minutes and 59 seconds. Annalisa spoke for 2:45. And Diane spoke for 4:23.
And I wasn't even done.
And there's always
I
more
was
to
only-
come from Diane. And that is my report.
Now we'll hear from our grammarian, John Miller.
Most people found themselves flummoxed as to how to use the word in a sentence, except for Dan, Craig, and Diane, both of whom readily admitted feeling flummoxed and said so. DJ, I liked the terms, nothing out of the ordinary, but you used a lot of terms to describe spiritual awakening that were good. Lurking, bliss, spectacular, chaotic, benevolent, the greater me, to paint a picture for us. Nirja, pain vanished like magic, and moved accidentally to Fairfield. You really got me drawn in there. Yeah? What's the rest? So maybe that'll be your second speech. I'm hoping you'll explain. Rick Starr, very clever repetition of Gene's use or Gene's involvement with the consciousness theater. It took me a couple of seconds to pick up on that, despite my 10 years in prison as a staffer. Also, appropriately enough, 15.7% cut. I would have said 15.4%, but I'll go with your 15.7. That's good. Gene, lots of things coming out. Surreal, hazy blur, bulging attitude chip. Right on the shoulder. Another beautiful picture. Crack me up. Go with the flow. And a little spin off of that with the champagne. Being wrapped in flowers. Diane, you really nailed it with that going over on your speech and then saying, why is this happening? And everybody started clapping. I thought, you and Will must have coordinated that in advance, I think. Anyway, that's all. I couldn't think of any corrections because I've been so out of touch with speaking for the last 6 months that whatever corrections were apparent, maybe everybody just did a perfect job. That's what I would suspect.
Now we go from Emery Styron. Is it Styron?
Styron.
Yes.
I was a little flummoxed when I started out because no one was making any errors for me to write down. Thankfully, a few people kicked it. Gene did have one repeat of A. Dan had an and. Will had two so's right here at the end of the meeting. Emery had an maybe several, I'm not sure. Can't evaluate myself. Joe T had a so. DJ liked wonder. Diane, one you know, two so's, two buts. Lisa, one 5 so's, 3 ands. A little difficult to say when and belongs or doesn't belong. Same with so. Nirja, 2 so's, 1 but, 1 and. Rick, 1 1 so, 2 ands. Ajis, 1 1 like, 3 so's, and 2 ands. Wahi, 3 uhs, 2 so's, and Rana, 3 uhs, 1 like, and 10 ands. That's my report.
Thank you. It's time to get a joke from Wahi Ahmed Amin.
of coffee in a restaurant, and after getting the coffee, he finds a fly in the coffee. So he called the waiter. The customer say, "How could I drink this coffee?" The waiter, "Don't you know how to drink coffee?" Customer, "See, there is a fly in my coffee." Customer, "Oh yes, sir, you're right. There is a fly in your coffee." Customer, "I said there is a fly in my coffee." Waiter, "Oh, don't worry, sir. The fly won't drink much." Customer, it is swimming in my coffee, sir. Do you want me to get a lifeguard for the fly, sir?" Customer, "The fly is dead. It's irritating." Waiter, "I guess it doesn't know how to swim properly." And customer, "How do I drink this coffee?" Waiter, "Don't you know how to drink? I'll show you how to drink." So he drinks the coffee.
Okay, that was a nice joke. So it's time to evaluate the meeting. It's my role. So I evaluate the meeting and I evaluate. So meeting started on time. That was a fantastic thing. And it went smooth, and I'll go directly to the evaluation section. The first hour evaluator was done in that moment. She was a great evaluator always. She is great always, as usual. This time she used a different technique where she asked the speaker to be on the manual. So what DJ wants to know about his skill. So that was a new technique she used. And she followed the manual. That was always a welcomed technique. The only thing I suggest is what I felt was the conclusion was not tied up to what he was talking about. So you would have suggested more on the connection between his speech and the conclusion. And he might have used stage more because he used a lot of stage, I know, but he could have used more. He was most of the time here. He was using his body gestures, but I didn't see much using of much of the stage. He used 3 stages: the first stage, second stage, and third stage, or something you could have done. So that is for you. It was a fantastic evaluation. Annalisa, Tunisia. So it was always great to appreciate first before you give any suggestion, and you did a very good job because it was her first speech, and we want all this appreciation to boost her up, and you did a very fantastic job. You said she has a very good stories, she has very good eye contact, great smile, and all these things. And you talked about, and you had also a suggestion that you said she was here, and you used a little bit of stage. The only my suggestion was she was here, but the thing is she was a little bit of pacing in the same place. So if you would have just looked at, and the same in a short span of space, she was pacing there. So that's a suggestion you would have to. Otherwise, for icebreaker, it's always great. Her speech is always great for, was great for icebreaker. And Rick Stark, Eugene, Simonton Craig. He is a great speaker, and he is a very prominent evaluator, so they both matched very well. And he also appreciated what she did well and what was the meat of the story. And he also followed the manual, and she suggested about the posits she has to use. The only suggestion I would have for her is more than what you did was because it was for audience, and here she would have simplified her language a little bit for the audience, and that would be very better than what it had. It was a very good speech, but a little bit of language. This audience was not that tough language understanding people here, so half of the audience now. For now, I'm talking not for all the audience here. So I think it was. If I were sitting here before like 2 years, I would have all these things would have gone above my head. So I understand the problem. So that was about our Rana. So you had all these speeches. You have the suggestion for all these three, and you appreciated all these people. Only one suggestion I would have given to Wahid was all the time I saw your hands in the pocket. You're searching for something inside the pocket or something, but if you be free, then that would be much appreciated. That if you had to, that would be. So only my suggestion. So this was my evaluation. So I'd like to call Toastmasters Dan Craig.
Now it's our time to give out meeting awards. First, I'm going to announce the winner of the table topics. Let's have a little drum roll. Now, best evaluator. We had a tie between Rick and Annalisa. Finally, best speaker, the voting was very close. The winner was the debutante. And also, I've got a speech number 4 ribbon for DJ. I don't seem to have it up here in your gym, but we should have a ribbon for your icebreaker. We'll find out later. It's time to bring back our acting president, Gene Tompkins Craig, to close the meeting.
For those of you that are new, there's a lot of clapping. You almost can't go wrong if you clap, and that's one thing I wanted to mention is when people are coming up, we're clapping. When they're leaving, they're clapping. When table topics, when they get their question, you clap, because if it feels good, you get a rush. Everybody likes rushes, and so that's what we do. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Our guests, maybe a word or two. Say, all right, 5 words, just because we're out of time. 5 words on your experience tonight.
It was a great meeting tonight, and I enjoyed all the speeches.
Good. I know, 5 words. Actually,
sorry, you're done.
That was good. So that amount of time.
5 words. Amazing.
About that length, though, you could sort of come
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I know.
A sentence or just word? You mean?
One sentence, not a sentence.
One sentence. Okay, it was good. I had a good time.
Good time.
Actually, I had nothing to do, so it was amazing.
So we're glad you came out.
Yeah.
We're glad you came out. Okay, great.
It was captivating, well organized. Flummoxed, I was flummoxed at the start, but good at the end.
Nice to have you
Awesome meeting. I'm delighted to be here.
here. Okay, great. All right, we're out of time. Is there anything I'm leaving out? Anyone before we close the meeting? Ah, I know you came in right after
it was
we had
after
done
I-
our,
This is my second time here. It was engaging, it was entertaining. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate it.
okay, and your name is
James Sutheran.
Sudavan?
Sutheran.
And what brought you to Toastmasters?
Oh, this is my second time here. Just, I know Prana, he comes here all the time, and then other people too. And I've been in Fairfield for almost 4 years, so
Okay.
I've heard of Toastmasters.
All right.
It's like,
Yes.
come back.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, we'll come again.
Yeah,
Come
thanks,
again.
I will.
And if anyone starts to get that tingling up the spine that DJ was talking about, that says, I want to become a Toastmaster, many have done it. You just talk to us or talk to one of our senior members and we'll take care of you. It's very simple and very, very high value.
Can I
Yes?
just say one thing? If you feel like it, remember sending Lewis a little email, he competes in Sioux City this weekend at the state level.
District.
So send him a district, yeah.
District, yeah.
So send him a
Yeah, okay, so that's really important. Our president, Lewis Dembaum, who has a regularly scheduled business meeting tonight on the second Tuesday, so we can't be here tonight, but he won the division contest, and now he's going, there's 5 divisions in the state of Iowa, plus a little bit of Nebraska and a little bit of Illinois. That's District 19. But he won the division, so now there are 5 winners heading towards Sioux City for the district contest this weekend. And there's going to be some serious competition at that level. So Lewis is going to be practicing in the bathroom. He's going to be, poor Diane, he's going to be giving a speech to her over and over again. Okay, so let's just, and like Diane said, if you can send an email, members, send an email, just say, let's go, Lewis. All right. Okay, so do I have a motion from one of our members to close the meeting?
So moved.
So
I move that we close the meeting.
Thank you. The so moved sort of throws me because I don't know what we're saying. Okay, you move that we close the meeting? All
I move
right.
that we close the meeting.
Okay, and do I have a second? I have a second. All right, so now guests, you guys get to sit there and watch and be amazed. All in favor, say aye. Members?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this meeting is adjourned. And this is official. Thank you. Come again.